Hello everyone, it's Brian here in Toronto, and at last I am finally going to produce a video for a thread created by Ben Rankins from Australia called 5 times 10 Best Records of the Last 5 Years. Now, I think many of you will already know Ben. If you don't, of course, I'll put a link below to his video and his channel. And those of you who know him, though, will be aware that he is often described as the king of shirts, the king of fashion, sometimes as Sir Benster or Sir Benster, Master of the British Empire, SBMBE, all of these things apply. Really interesting channel because primarily he shows mostly Australian music, but occasionally New Zealand music. Very rarely some other things come up, but usually he's focused on the antipodes, as we will say. So really interesting channel, fascinating guy. And his thread is also very interesting because it caused me some anxiety when I was thinking about about doing it. So let me go over the rules, which I've seen a few of these already, so I think it's well known now that people have done it, people know what it's about. But in case you don't, it's essentially to show your favorite records for each of the last 5 years, your favorite record for each of the last 5 years. Now, he did say the rules could be creatively broken, and I have... Well, I'm not going to say I creatively broke them, but I did break them in many cases. Not all cases, I did break them. Point 2 is each band or artist can't be more than 10 years old at the time of the release. That made me think, what, we're doing music created by children now? But I think we know what he means. So the band can't have been around for more than 10 years. Finally, old bastards who were in legacy dinosaur bands and have only started releasing solo albums or formed a new band that are less than 10 years old at the time of release count 2. Okay, so I made a few adjustments, which I'll describe. But first I should say that this really made me question my life choices, or question my sanity maybe, because when I first heard this thread, I thought there's no problem doing this. This is going to be easy. But then I started to look at it and realize that bands I assumed had been around for less than 10 years had sometimes been around for 15 or even 20. I guess I still think it's the year 2000. I don't understand why time is passing so quickly. How did certain bands get to be around for so long? It's mystifying to me. So I didn't necessarily choose my favorite for each year. I chose a record that I like. So maybe not a favorite, but definitely a record I like. I did change the years, though. So instead of 2019 to 2023, we're going 2018 to 2022. And my rationale for that is that the year 2023 is not over yet. So my favorite record from 2023 might come out in December. So I'm not going to use 2023. A couple of these things are just a bit older than 10 years, so I hope that's okay. Well, we can creatively break the rules, so I'm going to do that. So, what else do I need to tell you about how I've changed things? Okay, that's probably good enough. So, let's start with a record that I have seen on Ben's channel, and I have shown on mine before with the help of Ben, and that is Vacuum, a band from Australia. So I thought, what better way to start than with an Australian band? And this is a 2022, their first record from 2022. This is a kind of an icy, electronic kind of thing on red vinyl, limited to 300 copies, which is kind of cool. So on a previous video, I read this entire hype sticker. I'm not going to do that, but I will give you some keywords from it, though, just to get you interested. We got Psychic Terror. We got Bludgeoning Gut Punch Sub Bass. We have, it's from Andrea Blake and Jenny Brannigan. We have Bristling Wit, mighty sub bass inspired by the rumbling exhaust pipes of muscle cars. We've got Slow Stomp Claustrophobia, evocative of underground 90s hip hop. We've got body moving dynamism of early Detroit techno, elliptical industrial songs. So I think you get the picture. My recommendation is to check out the song Dread. So that's 2022, a record I really liked from 2022. So for 2021, I have chosen a Canadian band called Soons. So some people mispronounce this as Sons, but it's pronounced Soons. This is The Witness. And I will say right off the bat that their first record came out in 2010. So we've pushed this to 13 years. I'm sorry about that, but what can I do? One of Canada's most respected purveyors of avant-garde rock music. So calling it rock is interesting because I don't know if I would call this rock. It's certainly has elements of neo-psych, krautrock, maybe post-punk revival. It's that kind of thing. This is the back. this image is reprinted on the inner sleeve for all its glory. I mean, look at that. You've got this naked man, I guess, referencing this piece of art up here, but not successfully, if you ask me. And then there are a couple other body studies over there. So kind of an alarming cover that I really, or image that I don't love. I find it kind of horrifying. And on Discogs, this album is described as being on bright blue vinyl, but I think I might disagree with that, because for me it looks a bit greenish, but it could be just on video it does. I think it looks green to me, but this is a really good record. I have several of them. I think they're well worth listening to. Now from 2020, I had a couple of choices for this year, but I went with another Canadian record from a band called Jade Hairpins. This is called Harmony Avenue. There's the back. Let me read you the hype sticker. Pop foraging with analog acoustics and electronic landscaping, courtesy of Jonah Falco and Mike Haleychuk of Fucked Up. That is a hardcore Canadian punk band, so that's quite the change. If you know that band and then you hear this, you're not going to even... You would be hard-pressed to understand how they come from the same outfit. But this is more of a... Someone described it as orange juice funk from the band Orange Juice. Maybe it's possibly danceable post-punk. It's got a lot of electronic components as well. And it's very poppy, though. I will say the first time I heard it, I wasn't sure I liked it, but I think it's grown on me a bit. And it's just on regular black vinyl, so nothing really interesting about that. So kind of a cool record. So we go back to 2019, and Mike, Vinyl Spiral, and another of the VC Mikes, PC31, the Vinyl Policeman, mentioned this band. So I've chosen what I think a different one from them. That's from Fontaines DC. This is their debut record from 2019. They're an Irish post-punk band who I think are really, really excellent. Each record seems to get a bit better, but this is a really strong record. I think the first song I heard from them was Boys in the Better Land. I watched that video. I was immediately captivated. And I watched Big. There's a video for Big. The only concern I have, or the only criticism I have of that song, is that it's way too short, but the video is kind of cool. And they're really great. I mean, there we go. I think I forgot to mention that the Soons, did I say this? Now I'm doubting what I said. The Soons' first record came out in 2010, so it doesn't really fit the criteria, but whatever. This one fits. I think they're great. And lastly, I went with a kind of a sort of a dinosaur. This artist's first record, solo record, came out in 2012, which is, again, past the 10-year thing. It's we're at 11 years, I guess. And this is his solo record from 2018. It's Jack White, obviously, from the White Stripes. This is Boarding House Reach. And yeah, I think this is a record that kind of divided fans at some point or some level, but I think it's pretty good. With a kind of a nice insert on black vinyl, so that's fine. So it wasn't precisely what Ben requested in this thread because the years were a bit off, and I shifted it back a year, and I'm not sure these are faves, but they're good records that I like from the year. So that's all I have. I mean, that's the best I can do. So go check out Ben's channel if you don't know it, or even if you do know it. And I'll talk to you next time.